to Wealth Building Wednesday, where I know you told a friend, who told a friend, who told a friend, and then y'all are all tuning in to Wealth Building Wednesday. So welcome. This week we are talking debt pay down tips, and this is a requested video, so I'm really excited about that. Let me just say to the people who did request this video, I can only give general tips because if I don't know your actual financial situation, I can't say exactly what you should do particularly and how you should do it. So these are going to be general tips that everyone can apply to help them start paying down debt and start thinking about how they're going to pay down debt. Tip number one, let go of excuses. Like, that is going to be the first tip. You have to let go of excuses. Stop making excuses. Yes, people have valid obstacles that they must overcome, but if you continue to focus on the excuses, then you are not putting the time and energy into focusing on generating options to overcome those excuses, right? So let me tell you what you need to do when you get some excuses. I want you to take your excuses, all of them, write them down on a single piece of paper, just like this. Read them out loud. I don't have enough money. I can't live without this. I got too much debt. It's good debt though, and the service should have been free. I shouldn't even have to pay for it, so I don't even know why it's a debt. Take that, write it down, rip that thing up, and just be done with it. Like, we're no longer making excuses. You either want to pay down the debt or you don't. If you are saying I'm ready to pay down debt, but you still have excuses, you're not ready. Get ready and come back again. So tip number two is assess the reason that you got into debt so we can address the root issue to keep you out of debt. Because it's one thing to pay down the debt, but to find yourself right back in the same cycle because we never got to the root of the issue. Debt itself is not the cause. Debt is the result of some symptom that we have. So look at your life and think about, okay, what makes me get into debt, right? And it's different for different people. So some people are very materialistic. Material things make them feel good. It increases their self-esteem. It increases their self-worth and their value. Or they just simply just like nice things. Like, they just love them. I can't explain it, but they just love it. But what it does, it causes them to overspend. And so it puts them in a lot of consumer debt because they don't know where to cut off and just say no to that. Like, what is the need? Why do you have to have that? So much so that it puts you in financial stress. Another reason that people get into debt is because we're lazy. I'm guilty of that. So I have a lot of student loan debt because I was pretty much lazy. I didn't want to sit around and apply to all the scholarships and all the grants that was possible. I did a couple and got what I could get, and then that was that. And so I just took out loans, and so now I just have a lot of student loan debt. So that comes from being lazy. If we're being honest, that's what it comes from. And then sometimes life just happens, right? Like, hard times hit that you just could not have expected, and you have to live on credit to survive. That happens to some people. Or sometimes there are emergencies where you're not even conscious to consent to services being rendered to you, and you still have to pay those, like medical debt. So I have a little bit of medical debt, which is a result of there was an emergency and I wasn't conscious. And I mean, they saved my life, so I'm gonna pay back that money. But it was like I didn't consent to that. So my debt, I don't have consumer debt. I don't have a problem with spending, but all of mine came from life circumstances. Well, student loan, lazy, and then life. Right? So just assess that so we can get to the root issue of why you are overspending or why you're constantly finding yourself in debt. Some debt, there's this thing about good debt and bad debt. I mean, it's all debt, all got to be paid back, all lingers over your head. We all want to get it paid off. So, I mean, it's better to have student loan debt than have credit card debt. That's debatable. All right. Okay. So now, tip number three. Figure out what you have. People's favorite excuse for not being able to pay down debt is, I don't have enough money. Sometimes that is a valid statement, and we can create a strategy around it. We'll increase your income. But a lot of times people don't even know how much money they have and what they could be putting towards debt because they just simply don't know what's coming in and what's going out. So what I would say you need to do is you need to sit down and you need to write down, what is your income? What is your net income? What do you bring home after taxes have been deducted from your paycheck each month? What do you bring home? Now you have that number. Now, what are your constant expenses? These are the expenses that do not change monthly. You know, they are the same. So your rent, your mortgage, your car note, your car insurance, your cell phone bill, things like that that just stay the same and that you need to survive and to get through, right? Then you're going to have your variable expenses, such as gas and groceries, things that are necessary, but you can really use your discretion about how much you want to spend or don't spend because it's not a constant bill, right? So you'll take your expenses and you'll subtract it from your income. So say your income is $4,000 a month and your expenses end up being $2,500 a month. So then we have $1,500 left over, right? So now you know my bills cost me $2,500 a month. Every month I'm putting $2,500 to bills and I have $1,500 left over to do whatever with, okay? So now that we know exactly how much we have coming in, what we need to survive, and that we have $1,500 each month left over that is not going to a bill or necessary expense, we are ready to tell that money where to go. Yes, you're going to create a budget. That's what a budget is. A budget does not mean necessarily just to get in and cut things out automatically, which in some cases you need to do for a season, temporary, yes. But a budget is commanding your money where it should go, right? You tell it where to go. It's no longer coming in and just slipping away from you. You're directing each dollar that you're going to go here, you're going to go there, you're going to go to savings, you're going to go to this bill, you're going to go to that bill. That's what you want to do with your money. Tell it where to go. So this is a director's note. Most people hate step 4, which is the budget, because, I mean, when we think of budgets, we think of cuts. You don't always have to cut stuff out of a budget. Budget is simply telling your money where to go. And if you no longer have debts, you no longer have to tell your money to go to a debt. Now you can tell it to go to buying fancy drinks at the bar, or getting your nails done, or taking a vacation, because now your money is freed up to go elsewhere. So when you think of a budget, don't think of it as cutting things out permanently. It's a temporary sacrifice to get out of the mess that you made. But you cannot do what you did to get in debt and think you're going to get out of debt. So if you have a problem cutting out something seasonally, go back and work on those root issues. The reason you got in debt. Why do you have to have this so bad that you can't go without it for a season, for a greater cause? That's it. Because so many people are just like, I just cannot live without it. And I mean, there are workarounds, because I did help someone create a plan where she was still able to eat out every so often and get her nails done. But her debt pay down goals took longer than what they would have done if she would have sacrificed that and put that money towards paying her debt down. So think about that, because people really do have a problem with cutting things out for a little bit. It's just a little while, Director's bonus, not really a tip. Yes, it is. Okay, we'll include it. So tip number 5. If you do not have an emergency fund before you start paying down debt, first build a small emergency fund. Maybe like 1 to 2 months of savings. Some people say $1,000. If you cool with 1,000, go with 1,000. If you want a little more, go with a little more. Don't make that a bit focused. Get to 1,000, 2,000, and be done. So okay, the 6th and final tip for this video is going to be creating a debt pay down schedule. So like I said, first we had our money map, the budget. We know where to go. If we didn't have a savings, an emergency fund, we're going to tell our money, we're going to say, hey, some of this is going to go to an emergency fund, and then the rest of this is going to go to debt, or some of this is going to go to getting my nails done, and some of this is going to go here, some of the rest is going to go to debt, whatever. So after you've done your budget, after you told it $1,500 where to go, you now know exactly how much you have that you are going to commit each month to putting towards debt. Just as simple as that, right? So now we're going to create the debt schedule pay down. How do you do this? First, you decide which debt pay down method you're going to use. You're either going to use the snowball, which is starting with the smallest amount, or you're going to use the avalanche, starting with the highest amount or the one that generates the most interest, right? So you decide that. Then you take your debts and you want to just list them out in order. Highest to lowest, list their interest rates, list the minimum amounts, list their due dates, right? Pretty much for each of those, you're always going to pay the minimum balance, but you're going to put the excess money that you have over the minimum balance to the biggest, to the debt that you decided to pay down first. So let's say all of your minimum balances are $20 and you got 4 different debts and all your minimum balances are $20. To debt 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to pay the minimum balance. But say you have $600 extra a month that you can put towards debt, because now you know where your money is going and you sacrifice getting your nails done and eating out and buying luxury shoes and whatever for the month. So now you got $600 extra. Debt 1, you're going to pay $620 to. The rest, you're going to keep paying the $20. At that point, you're making big At that point, you're making big hits towards your debt. So your debt is paid down in maybe what, a month. And so now you're taking that $620 that you was paying to debt 1 and you're adding it to debt 2. So now you're paying $640 a month to debt 2. Eventually, you're going to pay that off. So where you were paying $640 to debt 2, you're going to take that $640 and add it to the minimum balance of debt 3, and then you're going to be paying $680 to debt 3. See, you see how the amount that you are paying towards the debt grows each time you pay off one debt. You get bigger and bigger, and you eat up the rest of them faster. That's what happens. So that's really all the tips that I have for this video. Like I said, we can spend hours on each one of those topics alone, just going into detail, but that'll come more in 2019. Please do let me know what you guys would like to hear more of.